Testing, testing. Hi, Brett.
Hello there. How you guys doing?
How are you there, sir?
All right.
Oh, you must have one of those owls, the cameras.
Now,
You know what? Make it bigger. When you're doing it. Okay, how do you speak all over your screen. How you always do it? But that's right. You got it. Pretty good. Pretty good.
yeah, I like that.
These applications.
What happened last week? How are you doing? I got a new phone. Yeah. Tried to late. I got home to figure out how to leave.
I just heard, I kind of heard a boom.
Hey, folks, I'm gonna need the ability to share. I don't have that right now. If you make me a co-host, I can share.
Being here, host tools.
That's what we grab.
Oh, okay.
No problem.
My middle seat for life.
Go with it.
There's some candy just like.
Oh, I should be able to share screen now, Brett, if you want to do the test.
I'll try it. Yeah, we're fine. Thank you. We're fine.
Charge
Every day.
and miscellaneous.
You earn your value.
Hello?
How are you?
Somebody can, but this.
How's the leg now?
My leg's pretty good, but my ankle, which is another injury I've had,
6-year-old daughter.
still bother me more than the knee now.
That's probably from catching all those years, right?
No, I forget what I did, right now, what I did.
Scary.
That's a sign of.
Decades, yeah, it's decades old.
Well, you know, I'm one of my only friends who doesn't have a replacement yet.
Yeah,
So people ask me, well, how come you don't have a replacement? I said, well, that's because in high school, I was a lover, not an athlete. And that didn't need to be replaced.
no.
Well, actually, it could.
Sometimes it needs to be straightened though.
Yeah.
The left one was from spraining it continually from basketball, on through playing all the sports.
Right.
44, so.
Right.
And I've had it operated on twice and they haven't been able to fix it yet.
I don't know how long it's been. Better flight or is that time?
Yes. Phil, did you see the back?
Yeah, Roger Penrose. She had one. Last one, you were 3D images and stuff. How you doing? Good stuff? Good. It's 4 identical pieces of metal. At work. And at home though, at your house. Yeah, that's my kid. Well, my daughter's probably moving to Edinburgh. That's over. And she keeps the CEO of the company. I see her. So, it'll be all, she's all. All the same race, and they need to raise up out here. Stainless steel. Those, because you give them the. Okay. 3D printer, you can use nuts and bolts and something you do. Your own size. Coffee.
Thank you.
I checked in everything. But I might get one. I'm just kidding you. No, I already have my. If you want coffee, I'll get it. Go to John's office to get the coffee. I have it, I'll have it before I get from the expo we went to in Portland. First of all, how long have you done this? I think that's got my name. What's my face? Okay, I just wanted
All right, my friends, you almost ready to get started?
Oh, yeah, 12 o'clock.
All right, it's 12 o'clock.
Yeah. Was, I don't know.
Right here. Coming up.
All right, we just get us all settled in. The 22nd, give or take.
Whose water bottles are those? Move those from the alley. They're gonna
Why,
block.
do they
Oh,
listen?
red back. Oh. No, they block the view of people when they talk.
All right.
Make a stand up.
Many red backs. One red back. All right. You can call the meeting to order, please, and please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
indivisible, with liberty and justice
justice for all.
And if we can recite the four-way test.
Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
You can stay standing for the invocation.
Invocation attributed to a woman named, I think it's a woman, Sean L. Bird in Shuswap, British Columbia, which is about a mile west of Lake Louise. And she got several invocations, most of which are secular. This one's related, it's labeled strife. At this difficult season, when opinions impale reason, may we not divide, but warmly abide, within a strong fellowship built on relationships of respectful courtesy as we serve our community. May we rise as votary to the service of Rotary. And she defines votary, defined as devoted adherent.
Thank you. All right, we do have our speaker with us, Brett Weiss. So we will ask Anwar to introduce him after lunch. And if Guy Labella, if you could let us know what we have for lunch.
My pleasure. Yes, sir. Today's lunch consists of, fresh started salad, hamburger pizza, eggplant pizza with ricotta, and, a penne with, chunks of chicken breast, broccoli, and a lemon pepper cream sauce.
All right, thank you.
Focaccia bread, of course, so.
Everyone enjoy lunch. Brett, this is Ron.
How are you? Okay,
Can you hear me?
I brought this in to show Jack, you might get a kick out of it. So we went to a PD dinner in Portland 10 years ago.
Hi, Brett. This is
Hey.
Rob Rose. How are you?
Hey, Rob, good. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, do you mind if we wait about 15 minutes to get
Well-
started?
Your meeting, whatever you want. That's fine with me.
All right, and will about 25 minutes max be okay for you?
That's fine. That's fine. Rob, I was just expecting lunch to be delivered to me.
I know. So I don't know why they didn't do that.
All right, well, the next time.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks, Rob.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
I would love to learn how to use it.
One time, I went to a demonstration, I was a little Rotary unit when they started. That they had a small, they were giving a demonstration.
Hey, Charlie, how are you there, sir? Good. How's it going? You mind?
You know, now they.
I didn't,
Looks like mine. Oh, I just read it. Yes. I can't tell you the name. If I think of that, I'll bring it. Because we have a wire EDM. And we. Steel mostly, we're working, we charge wire. Wire EDM.
What kind of charge wire?
Electrically.
Charge wire?
Wire.
Charge?
No, I'm gonna wait for the next cycle, then I'm all in every week.
Okay.
Big buck, and I'm talking big bucks.
Okay.
I just don't wanna win the first time.
Wire. We have a spool of wire at the top, pick up on the bottom, mount a piece of steel,
Your side.
and
Yeah.
a hole in it to start it. Wire down through that hole, and it goes out the back, and it turns the electricity on. And then we turn it on the computer, and you can set any shape you want, and my wire goes through this steel spark jump.
Well, I'd say I am, because look at how we drove in today, I was barely making, I was praying for no more red lights.
Or something?
Well, it burns, yeah, it melts basically.
How did
And,
this with your 2-year-old?
But it can, all you have to do is have a piece of something that carries electricity. And, you remember? You draw what shape you want to come.
Yeah.
No light?
No moving diagram. And
So, I got the hit on Facebook.
it doesn't care how hard it is.
Back?
And
She's doing, so as of 9:47 this morning, she called me and she's looking
it
good.
goes like 5
There
hours.
was, they found some,
Get the right machine.
Okay.
Right. Right machine is, but they're okay. Those are documents for, you know, three things.
Okay.
But it's,
Well, you know,
the thing of it is, it doesn't get hard to get.
They keep you
And you
closer.
could pull 10.
I don't know.
You know what? We said-
You cut it rough
Make sure
once.
we said
Go around.
fix it, so
Oh,
I had-
I've never seen three guys.
That sounds like such a chairs up.
That's all right, Jim, it's okay.
I had a little idea about how.
Get to that age, right?
I mean, look, that one check. You don't ever
I got more
go on
time.
to the alley without.
This is the first of.
I did that a couple times, but you know, it's just.
Yeah, it's, what you do is you go fast, but you got it.
I won't,
You go around.
audacity, man, I can tell you that much.
Hey, thank you for that.
I'm like.
I saw you like.
Say you wanted to cut a wall. Cut it roughly first. Or high power. And you lower the power, and you offset the wire, and you look.
Maybe my wife will go. And I'll wear that tie.
It can be tense. It's not-
Maybe.
You get that.
It's not
And then,
crazy.
I better get a new one for next year.
And it makes it very smooth too. So you're interested in. Sorry.
Thank you.
Bob, did you call us?
Yeah, I have seen. Oh, yeah, that's a normal process that's been going around for years. And it was great. I don't know how it exactly. That was a big thing when it came around too.
Oh, sure, okay. A while ago.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, yeah, quite a while. God, he was back when. A guy named Ray Donovan, he was a Democratic politics here, and his wife is really nice,
I'm not sure.
nice guy. And he was foreman.
Somebody in
at
fifty terms, that's where they-
He said when the wire EDM came in.
I don't decide that.
Oh, good, okay.
He used to take a steel,
Yeah, I only have the.
file it, cut it, and file it.
When I send out.
But then they heat treat it, and it works, and they have to try to file again. After heat treat. So it's there, you know, a lot of small pieces. It's interesting.
Oh, I know.
Should I take a look? Yeah.
My father didn't
It was
encourage.
connected to some kind of a box,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Well, I know that we bought one at one point years ago, but I don't know if it was still. Anyway.
You know what I have in my office today? I have that projector or whatever. That's in my office. I don't know if that has.
I'll take one today. Why add something else to something?
I'm not feeling very lucky. From you.
I'm sure.
Okay. I'm gonna owe you, two more.
Anyone?
I forget how much I like.
One for two, three for five. I most anyone usually buys, so.
Good.
You could buy the whole roll.
You could buy the whole.
I'd like to. You can't have the.
You said there was a picture.
Like, I got the badge. And I have something else.
Got my-
Badge, so that she doesn't always have to have it. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, I'm
We'll flip that around the next, put that on that next, okay, and I'll bring it down and we'll. I have a new method.
Yeah.
A year or so ago, like 5 of them, when we started getting.
So do you want to start?
I don't want to do it, I want you to do it, but I want to buy that stuff and get, okay.
That's fine.
So. I know that it's gonna go.
Yeah. Looking good.
I'll take the whole roll if you give it to me for the
No,
time.
not at all.
Oh, okay.
Maybe you gotta move to some kind of.
Hang on. I got a question for you, Bruce, like,
Hey, Ray.
you got a call from travel?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, I know, they're not ready at all.
I got it. Home, I don't know what your budget is.
Yeah.
We know where we're going.
So they're not allowing.
I know where you're going, so I can't wait to hear.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're going to Alaska in mid-May.
Yeah.
And then coming back from that, one of our closest businesses, so those actually. It's gonna have its honeymoon. And he's still.
Yeah.
Working on it.
Hey.
I got somebody working for me once in a while.
Looking out for me, that's like here.
All right, a couple more minutes, we're gonna get started. Have fun.
We're gonna fly.
This isn't fun enough. It's
Washington.
gonna get even more. Oh my God.
Long flight.
Really
Not only that, but it'd be like culture shock,
got-
I think, you know?
What's the orange colored sauce?
Alaska would be like a cruise or line?
It's on, it's gonna be.
Orange color.
Uh-huh.
Mostly.
Green.
Yeah, it's a small.
Tomato.
inlet. It's
Yeah,
it's
tomato
good.
and fine.
It's really good.
Guys, is this from that first and last?
Yeah.
Cabins.
So I got a problem with it?
And,
No.
Have a
really,
problem?
really,
No, I don't
I
have any
I
problem.
really enjoy that.
I make problems.
Yeah, that's right. You're a creator of
So,
problems.
yeah, it's like that.
Yeah.
And Peter's able to do some hiking, but not some whole lot. If you can't do things where you don't have any handrails,
Yeah.
you have to go up, steep it up and back. So, you know, there are things that will go, we'll just either not do if you can't.
Couple more minutes.
That's right. Yeah.
We'll get started on some business, and then we'll let our speaker talk. We're excited about.
We went to Ann Arbor years ago, and we took a ship that never got off. They, you know what I mean? And, but they would sit up in the lounge and look out and everything. And now, you know, it's like, well.
So when'd you get back to Florida?
I drove in on Saturday.
Go back. Well,
It wasn't a bad drive. It was actually really easy, nice and easy drive.
if that's the way you wanna spend your
Yeah. All right, my friend. So just, everyone enjoy lunch, but while you're enjoying lunch, I just want to get a head start on things because we are going to, let our speaker get started in about 6 minutes or so, give or take. We appreciate that, Brett. So I'm excited to be back. And, one of the things I apologize in the beginning of the, meeting, I did not mention, we do have a guest, Mr. Paul Willis. So, thank you once again for being here.
Thank you.
Right?
Welcome.
We appreciate it. And, I missed all of you.
Hey,
Right.
we miss you too.
Come on,
Wait a
I
second,
love
wait,
you
wait.
guys.
Time out, is that part of the four-way test? Is it the truth?
Yep, well, will it build goodwill?
Sure.
So one of the new things we're gonna implement, we're gonna try our best, is that if you have, you're reporting on something, right, you really wanna make your point and you want it to be in that transcript, because we're gonna be trying to create some transcripts of the meetings to work on some AI stuff. We need you to move, if you're in the back there, get closer to the owl. You probably need to be somewhere where Anwar is sitting or, where Pete is sitting. So from there going back, a lot of times it's hard to hear. So I missed out on some conversations, but I heard a couple of people talking about my hair during the meeting, with me on Zoom. So don't think I'm forgetting about that.
What about your ear?
My hair.
You can't hear out of your ear?
All right, so with that, let's do some trivia. All right, so hopefully you're up on your April or spring trivia, right? What is the flower most commonly associated with the month of April?
Daffodil,
Crocuses.
Not according to Google.
Lilac,
dandelions, tulip.
Or Cynthia.
I think tulip. Right?
hyacinth.
Iris.
So what my AI is telling me, see, this is AI, right from here.
Oh, no, it's
They're
only
saying-
right 75% of the.
Yeah, they're saying either daisy or the sweet pea.
Not even out.
Way high sales.
Sweet pea.
Not in New England.
All right, so let's see. Let's see, yeah, Google it. What is the birthstone for the month of April?
Ruby. Amethyst.
Diamond. All right, we got a winner.
You had that.
Yeah.
Only a florist would know.
Let's
this.
see what you got there, Babaloo. Oh, wow, what do you got there? What's it say?
Oregano seeds.
Oregano seeds.
That's what you think it is.
So just so you know, where those came from was, Pellets.
Yeah.
All right, so we put a bunch of ingredients together to talk about how to make the best club possible. So I guess we need oregano to make one of the best, just an example. All right. How about this one? This one was interesting to me. Which famous American document was drafted in April 1776?
Declaration of Independence.
You got it, Declaration of Independence.
Well, that's
And
not fair, because he was there.
it begins with, when in the course of human events. When in the course of human events. We the people. You guys like.
When was
dig
it
for the bottom stuff. You might get a Christmas ornament if you dig too deep.
There's a mousetrap down
Or
there.
a mousetrap.
What do you got there?
Big teardrop.
Right, a teardrop sponge. That was one from one of the vendors at Pell's.
Oh, my God. Did
Hey,
you ever go to any
come on, we're on a
breakout?
budget, we're on a budget.
Did you ever go to a breakout session?
All right, this one is interesting. What is the term for the first full moon of spring?
Harvest.
That's fall, I think, right?
Was it?
The first full moon of spring,
Crescent.
the pink moon.
Oh, there's another.
Pink.
Pink.
All right, I'm gonna try, you know what, this one's not fair. You know what, I'll do it, let's see who gets it quick. All right. What popular flowering tree known for its beautiful pink and white blossom reaches?
Cherry blossom.
Daffodil.
That's right. Cherry blossom reaches peak bloom in Washington DC in early April. I think I heard Mark, but was it someone else?
Come on.
All right, maybe he'll get another, sponge. You never know.
Oh, I already have one of these.
Yeah, you gave it to me. He doesn't want that oregano. You know, get that oregano in.
I didn't know you could give it back and get another.
No, Bob didn't want to pick another.
Oh, this,
There you go. You're all set there, buddy.
okay.
All right. So that's basically, hopefully you're having a little bit of fun, right, with the trivia. Really, I just want to take 2 more minutes. Brett, we appreciate your patience.
Rob, can I just say, just quickly, because you said the thing about the owl? The other thing Anwar and I were thinking of is if we could specify that people need to be one person talking at a time somehow. Try and make that work. Try and be respectful of other people, just one at a time.
Yes. Right, and one of the ways in which you can tell if you're being heard is if you start seeing you on the video. So that's how that would work. All right, we really have some business to go over, but we're gonna kind of put that aside. I don't think anything right now at this moment is very, very urgent, but we can speak about it after our guest speaker if you really feel like you want to go over something with the rest of the club. So with that in mind, I'd like to ask Anwar to introduce our guest, and thank you again.
I'll be happy to. So our guest speaker today is Brett Weiss, or Weiss. He's a retired high school social studies teacher. Brett has 5 years' experience in running a social service organization and 22 years in the software business. A trip to Dago in 2009 left Brett feeling compelled to encourage positive change in an otherwise poor village. 2 years later, the Weiss Scholarship Foundation was created in memory of his parents, Bernard and Elsie. Brett is a member of the Rotary Club of Naperville, Illinois. Brett will enlighten us in the next 30 minutes about how the founding is helping educate children in other developing countries. So with that, I'll turn the screen over to you, Brett. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Anwar, thank you very much. Let me share this here. Can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much for having me. Anwar, great introduction. You said a lot of things that I would probably say. The village that we're talking about is Dago, D-A-G-O. When I was still teaching, I had a student of Italian heritage come up to me and say, I really love the work you're doing in Kenya, but I don't like the name of that village. And I assured him it is Dago and not the other one. Anyway, I want to encourage you to ask questions anytime here. Just jump in. I am with the Rotary Club in Naperville, here in the western suburbs of Chicago. We are Thursday Lunch Club. So if you're ever in the Chicago area and you've got a Thursday lunch free, I'd love to have you as a guest. Anwar, did everybody get my flyer?
Yeah, we all
Good.
have it.
Okay, great. So good. The flyer kind of summarizes, what this is all about here. So, as Anwar kind of said, in 2009, I did something I kind of always wanted to do, but put off for a lot of years. And I spent 3 weeks in a little village in Kenya by the name of Dago. People are as poor as can be. Mud huts, no electricity, no plumbing, barely any food. Most people don't live past 40. Very common for kids to go to bed without any food. The most extreme poverty in the world. And I was touched by them. And at the time, I never had any intention of doing what I'm doing now. But little by little, I ended up going back. And then I started this, and it has grown to be something quite big. So we ask people to imagine a world where every child gets a great education. I also like to talk about, let's not just help poor people, let's actually end poverty. And I feel very strongly that, once we educate a child, we've educated their children and their grandchildren and so on, and that's how we lift people out of poverty. Okay. So I don't know a lot of Swahili, but a little bit. Jambo and Caribou is hello and welcome. The beautiful little girl in the top right there is from the village of Dago. If you notice, her head is shaved. For the little kids there, because lice is a big problem, they have to have their head shaved to go to school. You also see, I wrote a book a few years ago called "Just Give Me a Hug." Give them a hug. The rest will be easy. Available on Amazon. The two boys there with me are Nicholas and Victor. At the time, they were at St. Pius Uriri High School. They're both university graduates now, doing quite well in life. So when I started this, I've spent much of my life studying and teaching about all this stuff here. And I always kind of wondered that, there's a lot of wonderful people and organizations around the world, trying to help extreme poverty and help people out of it. And yet it just doesn't seem like we're ever making real progress. So I really kind of tried to take a step back and what can we do that's different here? The reality is more than half the children in the world get little to no education. That number is about 80% in Africa. Although in Africa, there isn't any real data, but that's kind of my estimate from talking to a lot of people. And sadly, those numbers really haven't changed over the years. One of the reasons they haven't changed, though, is because of kind of a good thing. Places like Kenya now, women have much safer pregnancies. Women and babies survive birth. Babies survive the first 2 years. So as a result, when you go to a place like Kenya, there's lots of little children running around. The sad reality, though, is most of them are getting little to no education. So, why haven't we been able to solve the problem? Yeah, I'm old enough to remember in 1960 when John Kennedy said we're going to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. And we basically didn't even have a space program. And we did that. We all know July of 1969, we put a man on the moon. So it's certainly not because of a lack of money. There's plenty of money in the world to solve this problem here. And especially when you'll see in a moment here how little it costs to educate these kids. So I would suggest we haven't solved the problem because of the lack of will to solve it. So let's finally solve the problem. So our mission is all about empowering children in Kenya with education as we work to build a world where every child gets a great education. And we have built what we call a holistic business model. And actually, holistic was coined by a longtime Rotarian named Peter Laddie in Southern California. A little bit later here, you'll see we have a partnership with his club and two other clubs in Southern California. And he coined our model, a holistic one, because we recognize that our students need much more than just having their school fees paid for. There's lots of wonderful organizations in the world that pay school fees for these kids to go to school. And God bless them because the kids wouldn't be going to school without it. But I decided in the beginning that just wasn't enough. Very few of our kids have both parents. Many don't have either parent and they live with an auntie or a grandma or a neighbor. The adults who are in their life generally have little to no education and they're really not able to do much to support them. So that's when we started to hire staff. I knew we needed to hire people on the ground, to work with these kids. And our kids are so poor, we have to pay all their expenses. All right. I mean, we buy their toothpaste and toilet paper. They literally have no money to buy anything. So we're paying everything for them. So today we have 8 staff people on the ground in Kenya. They're all educators, very much on purpose. They're all educators. We call them mentor coordinators. Their job is to be totally engaged in the lives of our kids. They visit them every term. There's 3 terms in the school year. We have kids at high school, boarding high schools all over Kenya. We get all of the report cards. Matter of fact, the first term for the school year just ended the other day, and I'm starting to get in all the report cards. I put together a couple of reports for our staff, kind of analyzing how they're doing. It kind of tells us, are they getting better, are they getting worse, and then how they're doing in individual subjects. There are tools for our staff to use so we know what our kids need to help them be successful. We call our staff really the secret sauce. That's really the secret to what we do. Okay, so I mentioned we also meet with the parents and guardians on a regular basis. So what we're trying to do is make sure we meet with all of the adults in a child's life to make sure we're doing everything we can to help them be successful. I mentioned the report cards, and then a really, really important rule that we started right at the beginning is we always divide our money 50-50 between girls and boys. Why is that important? We pick kids for high school based on an exam they take at the end of primary school. The reality is the boys tend to score a lot higher than the girls, not because the girls aren't as smart, but for a whole lot of reasons beyond their control. They missed a lot of school. So we always divide our money 50-50. In the early years, we had a lot of parents mad at us, even some mothers who would mad at us, who would say, why are you sending girls to school? Girls don't need to go to school. In the last few years, we haven't had as many complaints. I think it's because they realize it's a good idea to send girls to school. They have seen lots of girls go to high school, to university, to vocational school, graduating university, graduating vocational school. They like to call me a crazy Mzungu. Mzungu is a Swahili word for a white person. And I'm hoping that they kind of feel now maybe I'm not as crazy as they thought I was. I say all the time that we cannot end poverty unless girls are educated. In a third world country like this, the women control the home. The men really don't want anything to do with the home and raising the kids and all that kind of stuff. And the women are the ones who really say, go to school, do your homework, get good grades, all those kinds of things. So I mentioned our holistic business model. Also, one of our it says here, the operations of our foundation are run by Kenyans, not a guy in the United States. It's not just me. This isn't a white guy from the United States trying to run all this. One of our mentor coordinators is actually our Kenya country coordinator, Christina Doyo, and she runs all the day-to-day operations. And to be frank, she runs them a whole lot better than I could run them from here. So an example, let me give you at least one example of what our staff does. They're kind of heroes every day. The school year in Kenya is January through December. So in January of 2023, we had a young lady named Marian who was ready to start high school. We found out she was 2 months pregnant. It was the first time we had run into this. And in Kenya, if a girl's pregnant, that's it. They're done. No high school will let a girl come to school if she's pregnant. So Sammy is our mentor coordinator who works with her. And so he started, Marian lived with her mom. So it was her mom, and then baby on the way. Sammy would visit Marian every week for the first 2 terms, bringing work from her school and then taking back the work from the week before, doing our best to keep her up on the work that was going on. By the end of term 2, she had her baby. So it was her and her mom and the baby. The school she was going to was about a 3-hour car drive from her home, which 3-hour car drive in Kenya is like 1 billion miles. Sammy actually found a place for them to move to right by the school, actually just outside the gates of the school. So they moved there. Marian returned to school in the 3rd term of her 1st year. She's now in her 3rd year. And immediately did really, really well. Immediately she went to a B+ average. And a big point here, grades in Kenya are much, much tougher. As a retired high school teacher, I'd be the first to tell you in the United States, we give A's and B's away for free. A's and B's are very, very difficult to get in Kenya. So she's in her 3rd year of high school. Anytime she wants, she can go outside the gate to visit her mom and visit her baby, and then go back inside and be back in her school. Without Sammy, none of this ever would have happened. Anybody with questions?
Did it live in school?
Yeah, all of our kids go to boarding schools. Yes. And we have kids at many schools. We have kids right now in probably 40 schools, different schools, high schools around Kenya.
So the mother is in the village next to the school?
Yes. Sammy got her a place to live right by the school. Yes.
Does it provide help for her?
I'm sorry, say again, please.
Does it provide help for the mother and the child in terms of rent or whatever?
Okay, so funny you should say that. We do give the mother a little bit of money every month. I normally don't do that, but and it's I give her about $20 a month, which is a lot of money there, to help make sure she's living okay. We normally don't do that. We have a lot of parents who ask us to give them money, and we don't do that. But for this case, I do that. Yeah. Also, I guess on the schools they go to, in the beginning years, when a kid graduates from primary school, they get assigned a government high school. And when I started this, I thought that's the high school you had to go to. Then I learned, no, you can do something different than that. Almost all of our girls go to private schools now, and about 20% of our boys go to private schools. The private schools are much better because they have connections with the West, and they generally only charge a little bit more. We eventually like to get all of our kids in private schools. The reality, part of why only 20% of the boys go to private schools is out in the rural areas, most of the private schools are just for girls. And that's understandable. Generally, schools are not co-ed there. There's girls' schools and there's boys' schools. Uh, and we also do, in terms of schools, we move schools a lot. My connections, or my hosts in the village of Dago, are Mama Pamela and Duncan. Duncan's a retired teacher, and they've been a big help in getting me this up and going and making it grow. And because Duncan knows the schools very well. So a number of times in recent years, we have literally taken a kid out of government school because we weren't happy with them, and we moved them either to a private school or another government school. So, I mean, one of our big goals is we want to make sure we're sending our kids to the very best schools, possible. Any other questions right now?
And does it cost you to go to a government school?
Yeah. Okay. So they'll come up a little bit later on, but let's talk now. We send kids. Now they just changed high school in Kenya. High school is 3 years now. It used to be 4 years. For 3 years of high school, all expenses, this is paid everything, is $3,600. In other words, $1,200 a year. That's how little, like about $3 a day to educate a kid. The U.S. dollar goes really, really far in a country like that. Other questions right now? All right. So, of course, my goal here, obviously, I spend most of my time raising money and would very much appreciate if your club, after this, could make a donation. I'll talk more specific about that in a moment, or any of you as individuals. And you have on that flyer there, you have all the information you need. So we are now in 5 communities. We call it scaling our holistic business model. All 5, most children quit school about 4th grade. And actually, a whole lot of kids never go to school at all. The reason they quit at 4th grade is the government subsidizes a lot of primary school, but it doesn't subsidize high school at all. And these parents can't buy food, they can't buy clothes. There's no way they could pay for high school. So about 4th grade, they realize they're very, very poor. They're never going to go to high school. So why bother to go to school at all? And what they try to do is get a job working in the fields. Any day they can get a job, it's kind of 10 hours of backbreaking work, and they get $1 for that day. And in a world where the average family makes less than $2 a day, you bring home $1, that's a really, really big deal. So obviously, we're trying to change all that. Very few children in Kenya could go to high school without outside help, limited food and clothing. You're going to see a 2-minute trailer in a little bit for a documentary that was done about all this. In 2022, on video, I met with over 100 of our kids, and I asked a question that I kind of knew the answer to, but I wanted to ask it again and get it on video. I asked every one of them if, when they were growing up in their village, before they got to high school, did they ever go to bed without any food? And every one of them looked at me like, well, yeah, of course. That wasn't a big deal. It was just kind of normal in terms of the way they grew up. No electricity or plumbing, limited medical care. In these villages, very few people live past 40. Most people will live and die and never see a doctor. They live in tiny mud huts like you see up on the screen here. AIDS is the big problem. It's why so few kids have both parents or only have one. I do have hope. I think the young people are growing up with a pretty good knowledge of AIDS and what causes AIDS and what you do to avoid it. And I do have hope that that is going to get better in the future. All right. So there's tremendous gender inequality there. It is a very tough world for girls and women. My brother, who lives out in San Francisco, came with me a few years ago, and he came up with a line. He said, in Kenya's a place where the men rule, but the women do all the work. And it's really, really very true. A lot of parents, even mothers, don't think girls should go to school. It's a hard battle to get over that. In Kenya, generally women don't get divorced because if they get a divorce, they don't have rights to their children and they don't have rights to property. And if you don't have property, you can't grow any food. Languages. By the time kids get a little bit of an education, they're fluent in 3 languages. Their tribal language, there's 42 tribes in Kenya, Kiswahili, the Kenyan version of Swahili, and English, actually British English. We have to say now the King's English, not the Queen's English. And so they speak proper English, and they're very fluent in all 3 languages. And they find it strange, somebody like me, I mean, I really only know 1 language. They become used to a world where people just know multiple languages, like a lot of people around the world. Very strong sense of community. It's kind of like I grew up many, many years ago in the south side of Chicago in a neighborhood where nobody locked their doors and all the parents knew everybody and knew all the kids. Unfortunately, that's not the world we have now, but that is very much the world that they live in. Everybody knows everybody. All the adults in the village help out everybody else and help out with the children. Tremendous respect for adults. Dress. Dress tends to be very conservative there. Women are supposed to wear dresses or skirts down to their ankle. Now, Mama Pamela and Duncan, my hosts in Dago, they live better. He's a retired teacher, become a pretty successful farmer. And they have a little home that actually has electricity and internet and so on. It doesn't work all the time, but at least they have it sometimes. And one night we were watching a movie. It was an American movie. I don't remember which one. And there's a woman wearing pants in the movie. And they are very, very religious, and they're very serious about their faith. Mama Pamela, who's like my age, looks at me and says, "A woman wearing pants is godless." Now she knows I don't agree with her, but I also, we're like family. We love each other. We respect each other. We have disagreements. We don't always agree with everything. The funny part about this, though, is our Kenya country coordinator, Christina Doyle, is her daughter. And Christine pretty much only wears pants. So I imagine Christine and her mom, Mama Pamela, have a few conversations about that. But it's the kind of thing, as girls are growing up and they get more exposure to the West and they see TV and movies and internet and so on, they're becoming much more Western. About 90% of Kenya is Christian, all different kinds of Christian religions, and about 10% is Muslim. Here's how we've grown. I left teaching in 2017, not really because I wanted to leave teaching. I love teaching and I miss it very much. But my brother started to get more involved, and we really were doing all of this in memory of our parents. And I wanted to make this grow. And also the ultimate goal is to make sure it lasts beyond my lifetime. Hopefully I'm still going to be around for a long time. We have 3 young grandkids, hoping to watch them grow up. But, someday I won't be here, and I want to make sure the work continues. So you see how we've grown. So this past January 2025, we added 39 scholarships, so we're up to 281. So we send kids to high school, and then based on an exam at the end of high school, kind of like their SAT or ACT, it determines whether they go to university or vocational school. They don't really have a choice. The government controls everything in Kenya, and they're very much part of the problem. If you get a good enough score, you get to go to university. If you don't, then your avenue is vocational school. In fact, vocational school has been one of the toughest challenges for us. These kids grow up being told, go to school, work hard, get good marks, get to university, do well, graduate, get a good job, make a lot of money, get me out of the village and build me a home. And it's a lot of pressure on them. And I think when our kids grow up, if you don't have electricity or plumbing, you don't know what an electrician is or a plumber or a carpenter. You don't know what these trades are. So when our kids were, for the most part, picking the cream of the crop in our 5 communities, not always, but for the most part. So about 80% of our students have made it to university. But for the ones who don't, they're devastated because university was their goal. And we have kids all the time. They'll be in tears and say, I failed. I failed my family. I failed my village. I failed my country. And we will say to them, time out. You just became the first person in your family to ever graduate high school. How about we celebrate that a little bit? And then our staff helps them learn different vocations so they can pick different vocations. Pick, do they want to be a plumber? Do they want to be a carpenter, tailoring? What do they want to do? And then we help them with that here. So the numbers, 281 total, 131 in high school right now, all over Kenya, 46 to vocational school, 69 to university, 133 high school graduates. I always like to point out when we talk about our graduates, these are kids who grew up thinking they'd never go to high school. Why would they go to high school? Nobody goes to high school. So it's really cool. We have 133 high school graduates, 34 vocational school graduates, and 8 from university. Here is our 8 university graduates. Roy was our first. You see Vincent with a bachelor's degree in commerce, Victor with a degree in finance. And about a year ago, Victor contacted me. He wanted to become a CPA. And, there's costs to pay for taking the classes and then taking the exams. So I made him a deal. I would go 50-50 with him on the costs. And I talked to him the other day. He said later this year, he should be a CPA. Nicholas Akoth has a bachelor's degree in geospatial engineering, and he talks to me about building GPS systems. And I don't understand anything about building GPS systems, but I'm very, very proud of him. You have Samuel. Vivian was our first young lady to graduate from university. You see Julius and Boss. Boss is my favorite name of all the kids we've worked with over the years. I tried to talk to him about Bruce Springsteen once, but didn't get very far with that. And then I'm sorry, question? Okay, I thought someone was jumping in. Some vocational schools. Nelson Mandela, pretty cool name for a young man in Africa. He wasn't the greatest high school student, but he stayed in and he graduated. Did not make it to university. We sent him to a 2-year plumbing school. He graduated, passed the government exam. He is a licensed plumber in Kenya. And if you're a licensed plumber in Kenya, you're going to make a very, very good living. Eve, actually, her name is not Even, it's Eve. I apologize. That's a typo there. Eve also wasn't the greatest high school student. We sent her to a 2-year tourism management program. She now works, if you're familiar with Masai Mara, I've been on safari there a few times. There's a lot of beautiful hotels where people from all over the world come to. She works at one of those hotels and, making far more money than she ever could have imagined. Pauline goes to a tailoring school that my nonprofit actually runs with a nonprofit out of North Carolina. We actually started it with $2,500 of money from my Rotary Club. It's how we bought the first 10 sewing machines. We have graduated 4 classes. They go on and they take the government exam. So we have a lot of young women who now have their own tailoring business. It's a wonderful skill to have. You can make money, making new things, fixing stuff that's torn, and you also for your family. Most of these women now have children, and they can make clothes for their children. And you see Naomi with a degree in social work. So a few years ago, I set a goal of wouldn't it be cool if we could get one of our students to university here in the United States? If I had known at the time how difficult it was going to be, I may not have done it. But in August of 2022, you see the Welcome to Chicago sign. That's Christina Koth under that, a young lady who went to, grew up in Dago. And she is in her 3rd year at Elmhurst University. Christine, I mentioned that exam at the end of primary school, the girls tend to score a lot lower. Well, not Christine. She had by far the highest score anybody ever had from her village, like 20% higher. As a result, there's different levels of schools in Kenya. The top is what they call a national school. She got to go to Alliance Girls High School, which is considered like the Harvard or Yale of high schools in Kenya. But when she gets there, rankings are very public in Kenya. Everybody knows where you rank. If you're at the bottom of the rankings in your class, everybody knows that. It's up on the walls for everybody to see. So she gets to Alliance. She was the big fish in her village, but she was in the bottom 20% based on her score when she started high school. She excelled. She ended up in the top 30 girls in the country. She's always wanted to be a neurosurgeon. She's well on her way in her 3rd year. The MCATs will be somewhere in her future, and then medical school. And she's absolutely brilliant. I've actually taken her to a number of Rotary meetings where she gets to talk. She's been at my Rotary Club meeting a number of times, and she's just absolutely brilliant. We have a young man named Lewis that we're going to bring here this fall. Matter of fact, I just traded messages with him on WhatsApp. He just turned in his application for a passport, and then we're going to apply for a student visa. And I'm hoping and praying that all goes well. So as proud as we are of the numbers, it's really much more about the quality of the work, the staff that we do. All these things here that I talked about. It's more than just school fees. Meeting with the parents, meeting with the principals, the assistant principals, their teachers, the way we go over the report cards, the 50-50 rule. It's the quality of the work. As proud as I am of the numbers, it's really much more about the quality of our work here. So I'm a big data person. I keep a lot of data. So in Dago, which is our first village in our home and still where most of our kids come from, what I found when I started this, there would be about 80 children in first grade, what they call class 1. By the time you get to 8th grade, there'd be about 35 of the 80 left. Of the 35, probably only 3 or 4 were girls. That was the reality I found. In the most recent class that graduated, 70 students graduated primary school. So that means that most of the students stayed in there and graduated. The average score on that exam at the end of high school and the primary school is going up by more than 40%. And my favorite piece of data is about the gap between the girls and boys. When we started, it was about 20%, boys 20% higher. It's down to 3% now. And the boys' scores have gone up a lot, but the girls' scores have actually skyrocketed. I like to say it's why we use the word hope in our logo. You know, it's funny what happens when you give kids hope. Before this, there was no hope. It didn't matter what they did. Nothing was ever going to change. Matter of fact, one of the things we require of our students when they are home on breaks, and they're actually home on a break right now between first term and second term, they are required to go visit the primary school they went to and tell they're like rock stars. You know, tell these kids, work hard, you can get a scholarship like me. Rob, are you telling me something?
Yes, sir. If we can just give us your final couple of points, and
Okay.
we'll have Anwar make sure that he has your info and we have your bulletins to share. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Sounds good. Two of our partnerships, you can see the top one, there's some Rotary clubs in Southern California, one in Kenya. Also, we have a good partnership with another one of the clubs here in Naperville where I live here. When people donate money, they can people donate either X number of dollars, a one-time donation, or sometimes people or organizations, clubs sponsor a student all on their own, which is $3,600, although we can take $1,200 now. We can take $1,200 now, and then just with a promise that there'll be $1,200 in the second year and also the third year. I'm going to end here with this as a 2-minute trailer. It's a documentary that was done about Christine at Elmhurst and our foundation. It's actually won 20 Film Fest awards. This is 2 minutes and I will be done.
It's gonna be alright. Better than just fine.
Kenya, a land rich in culture, prideful of our ways, with a true sense of community. But the richness of our people's personalities can be overshadowed by our shortcomings. Poverty can be defined as the state of being extremely poor. But poverty is much more than not having enough money. Poverty is hunger. Poverty is not having a roof over your head. Poverty is not having a job or a future planned. Poverty has many faces, our faces. But as we face these challenges, we understand one thing, that through education, the opportunity to end poverty is extended to our youth.
I've been walking this road too long to give up right now. They say I know nothing, 'cause I'm so young now. But I feel somewhere inside I'm gonna make it. So I'm gonna keep on moving on. It's gonna be alright.
And by attending school, we can hope for a brighter future for our people. To one day use that knowledge to help solve not only the challenges in our villages, but across the globe.
It's gonna be alright. And it will be better than just fine. You watch this space, I'm telling you, a champion's in town.
We must start somewhere, and in the village of Dago, my journey towards higher education begins.
I'm Christine Akot, and in the fall I'll be joining Elmhurst University, that is in the US. I'm going to take medicine. It has been my dream for just a long time.
Okay, thank you again for having me today. I will take questions, and I'll stick around if you wanted me to stick around after your meeting. I'd be glad to do that. I appreciate your time, and I hope your club and maybe some of your individuals may choose to donate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brett. We
I have a
appreciate it.
question. I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How do you select your students? Apparently,
They-
when you select them, then you try and make them excel, but how do you pick them out of all these other students?
It's based on an exam they take at the end of primary school. Okay. And we're generally, for the most part, we're taking the top kids. Unfortunately, there's about 1 million kids in Kenya right now who could use our help. That's how big the problem is, just Kenya alone. But yeah, it's basically the score. We do make some exceptions. We have a number of times that we've taken in some kids that didn't do as well in the exam, but we know have the capability and the ability to do better.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Brett. We're gonna, if we have further questions, you're more than welcome to stay on the meeting. If,
I will do
any-
that.
you know,
I will do that. That's okay with you, yeah.
All right. Thank you very, very much. That was an excellent presentation and we appreciate it. All right, we're gonna move on to, our wonderful catch the ace of spades. What are we looking at, George?
550. Wow.
I'm telling you, next time around.
We're down to 22 cards.
I say this every time, but next time around, I'm in this thing. All right, well, Paul, we're gonna let you pick the lucky ticket. And where's those cards? We got them here?
Make sure the ace is in there.
All right, we wanna read that off? You gotta do some work over here, bud.
Okay, the winning ticket is 637-3262. Oh, right here.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Might be taking a trip to Philly soon.
Yeah.
Trying to find a couple of tickets.
I'll be in Chicago next week.
All right, so we're gonna ask Bob to, cut the card.
Honest Bob, yes.
Honest Bob, that's how we roll, right, Bob?
Yep.
Go to Naperville Rotary. Or you
No,
don't have time.
I'll have a half a day, I think.
We went on our,
Only one.
All right, I'll take this one right here.
Oh,
5 of hearts.
5 of hearts.
So we are down to 21.
Oh, man, and it's in there. It's in there. I saw the ace. It was right next, thank you so much, George. It was right next to what you guys chose. All right, I think we're just gonna go over 2 more items. One of them I think is important is the Paul Harris dinner. Because there's so much stuff going on with that. So if you'd like to give an update?
Yeah, well, right now, we're looking for people who signed up the first time to re-sign this time because I want to make sure they still want the same food and all of that. I have the sign-up sheet right here, so I can pass it around quick to see if anyone wants to attend and sign
And
up.
I know I need to sign up right
Yeah.
now. I'll do that before I leave.
she's not showing up. Does that mean we're not hearing, she won't be transcribed? I'm just curious.
Who?
Me.
Seal, I'm just thinking about how this is working here, folks. Just,
Yeah, so you have to move closer to the owl if you're talking.
it's okay. It's Seal, for
I
now,
don't
we got
care.
you, but we're just checking our theories on how this is gonna
Or
work.
wave your arms.
All right.
If I may also add, I received a copy of the contract yesterday, spoke to Seal, we're both in agreement. I signed it, sent it back to their banquet manager. So, we also discussed logistics, Seal and I, the day before, the event. We will, meet at Cotton Hollow Kitchen to make sure the room is set up the way we want it. There's room for a podium, and Ray, I was gonna talk to you about that, to see if we can take one from Goodwin and, transport it down to the venue. Maybe, the day of. So we'll have a podium, they have a microphone, sound system, so we're good there. We're gonna bring the banners, the retractable banners in the American flag. It'll be a lot of fun, so.
No, I think they have a flag, don't they?
No, I said we will bring our own flag. Yep. So, we have some great, appetizers. If you want to know what they are, I'm happy to tell you, but we have 4 different types of platters. And then you know your dinner choices. The salmon, the iron, what is
Iron
it?
steak.
Yeah,
Steak,
steak,
And the chicken.
Yeah.
Melamine.
flat iron steak, the chicken Milanese, or the hoisin glazed salmon a la pancia.
Whatever that.
Yeah, and you get us, no, don't punch me. And you get us, Caesar salad, beverages, and, dessert.
All right, well, I can't say, enough to thank, Guy and Seal for all your help. I know it's been a lot of work and back and forth. And, so now it's about time we all get signed up and get things
Yeah.
rolling.
Yeah,
Right.
because we need to have them signed up by next Wednesday,
Yes, Seal needs to give them the head
the
count.
latest.
All right,
Steel, is the steak still an extra?
And the club is picking up the tab for it,
Yeah,
The difference,
the difference, the $10.
I know, but is it cost?
Yes, it's costing us.
we don't know how much because we don't know who's gonna choose the steak over the chicken Milanese.
We already have.
I have a question about that. On the regular menu, the steak and the chicken are the same price, $30. So why are they charging more?
They wouldn't let us use the à la carte menu either.
No, but I'm saying, why would they charge
Mark, it
more?
could be a different portion, it could be a different style steak, it could be a
No, it
number
was
of
a steak,
reasons.
it was the same steak, it was a steak free. If you look at the regular menu, it's the same.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna go peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
Okay, folks.
All right, so, yeah,
Do we want this in high gear? No.
No, not that
let's
part.
put it in high gear. Rob Rose is gonna get peanut butter and jelly.
Got it.
But that's all we really have, I think, for today. We just want to do caring moments, things you have on your mind. I want to say my wife got good news, this morning after her appointment, so thank God for that. And I know all of you are going through a lot of different things, so, my heart is with you as well. But does anybody else have any caring moments? Yes.
Just to kind of follow through with our speaker, probably 20 years ago, I was in Nairobi, on graduation day. Unbelievable. The celebration that goes on in Nairobi when the kids graduate from college. Contrast that outside of town is probably the biggest slum in Africa. Just unbelievable poverty versus the kids who looked like they were pretty well off celebrating. Later on, we were out and visited a Maasai tribe, and the son of the chief was a U.S. college graduate who had come back to live with the village, which I thought was rather interesting. And the last thing was that the Catholic Church was very prominent in sending kids off to college. Our guide at that time had been sent to England to college by a priest, came back, was a teacher, but could make more money being a guide. And that's my memories of Nairobi and Tanzania.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Anybody else caring moments, things that we need to put some prayer to, some thought to?
My son left, last Wednesday, which is why I wasn't here. He'll be in Texas until Friday morning before he takes the big flight. He said that when he leaves Friday morning, it's gonna be, probably a day or two before he gets to Kuwait. And we may not be able to know where he is until he gets there in 7, but it's gonna be a long weekend coming up, so if you say an extra prayer, appreciate that.
Yep, definitely.
We have it easy here, he's got it tough, right?
Good luck.
Yes, yes.
My stepson has, cancer in his arm and they, have to operate, but he has to go for, heart surgery first.
All right. Definitely our prayers and thoughts with him as well. Anyone else? All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being here today. We appreciate you.
Yeah, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Anybody want to sign up?
If I'm not there, you wait
If anybody has questions or wants to talk more with Brett, you can go to the hour.
Yeah,
If you have a question, let me know.
I got yours.
Neil?
Say,
Who?
Sign up.
I just don't know what my wife wants.
Do you need anything?
Oh, she told me she wants to allow me to roll.
You let me find my brother. Was he going to Cunningham?
Good job, Bob.
Great job. Pretty well.
Yeah, that's which is.
Yeah, but.
I just yelled at you.
Okay.
The fire started.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing.
That's a.
All right. We're good, buddy.
And Mark, I agree.
Right here.
Yeah. Is that right? Yeah.
He was over in England.
Oh, yeah, you're
He
right.
decided to see another afterwards and wanted to be big guy. So I went over to home.
Yeah.
He knocked on the door and he said, he met with NCS. He's not the right.
I've never been. I get a machine. Oh, yeah, she is. Nominated. It's nice and slippery.
Yeah, thank you.
That's where you got your-
Yesterday.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to take it all of
Hey,
it.
Jack, don't take it so long.
Open up my agenda.
Is that right? Yeah, oh, yeah. Talk about machine. The,
Made individually.
I just get a kick out of it, like, it was cute. I went, you know, big. I played all these things. And local bets, the Red Sox. Yeah, and I was, you know, when you give a Rubik's Cube, you go, this.
Did you look at it?
I think, but yeah, I guess, I've just seen a picture.
What if they make a braille?
Yeah.
That would be,
Yeah.
that would be a good thing to make.
Right? If you want.
Yes, I thought I was. Had the flat square things, had the numbers on one side, you slide them around to get them in order. Yeah, I used to be good at that. Yeah, right. But some of these guys are just amazing.
I'm pretty sure it was our.
He's still here?
Pretty sure. Okay.
I feel it.
Okay. I don't like it.
Oh.
No, I don't think we ever got much news.
How about you?
Who's not here?
Yeah, you want to call your dinner?
Hi, here.
Yes.
Want to do the invocation tonight? Come on. Not your thing? All right.
Thank you. I don't mean to say no to you, but. Get some- I guess get-
Let me show you.
I know, spaghetti.
Would you like to have a day?
Invitation is fire.
Would I?
Yes.
I can do it.
There you go. Thank you very much.
The woman who wrote in.
But I don't know who's going. I don't know if I'm.
If you're gonna be there and you wanna do the invitation, that would be wonderful.
I'll be there,
Okay.
but George is.
You have a weekend somewhere?
Okay, put two down.
Call Rob before you
Read off one of these things.
call George, because
I
I
didn't
didn't
say, author, I think.
Okay,
Oh.
all right.
Must, yeah, must
Was
be
it him?
nature.
No, it wasn't him. Okay, I'll just give you the gist of it. I don't know, I don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
So then it said she gave this, and
I gotta,
Yeah, they're cool.
I wanna see if I can get the transcription right now.
90% of the indications are Christian.
Yeah.
And so she did this on purpose. not
Thank you.
Christian. And it's just, she felt some of the club members weren't as comfortable. Always.
Rob,
being
thank you.
Christian thing. Yeah.
Thank you, bud.
I will reach out to you to, thank you, but when we can meet, she said, I'm
Awesome.
volunteering to do
Thanks.
individuals going forward.
Good having you
because,
here.
Yeah.
I know, you know,
Yeah,
there's a lot of places where the Muslims are 90%.
Right.
I don't know.
Religious anyway.
I don't have any.
Anwar is an awesome boy for 8 years. but-
Hey, I'm Brett, I'm just messing around with this thing, see if I can get a transcript.
You can take me to the answer. It was
Hey,
fine.
Peter?
Yeah.
I was fine with
You want
it.
any of the letters? You want any of that? Okay, guys, he's got us covered.
Hey, Anwar, can you hear me?
We're covered for tonight. You already,
Can you hear me?
yesterday, what, 2 dinners, so
Hello?
thank you so much.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm gonna throw this in.
Okay. Did you nominate Robert for Paul Harris? Okay, do you know who did?
Yeah. You can have that bitch back.
I just been sort of throwing out.
That honey found honey. Good.
Oh, good. I picked it up yesterday.
Wow.
Oh, you're not coming to Paul Harris?
You're both on sale, two for $4.
Okay. All right, no problem. Okay, we were just curious who
I'm gonna write the
nominated.
Rotary.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I had Jim looking for it, too. Somebody said.
No,
All right, drive safe. I'll talk to you later. Okay, all right.
So what we're saying is nobody wants to admit to it.
I don't know. It might have been your parole officer.
Are you trying to get somebody to stand up and introduce him?
Well, whoever nominated him, but nobody knows who nominated him.
I don't know. I wasn't even at any of those meetings, so I'm happy to stand up and introduce him.
Well, we can do a denomination.
I don't know. Well, Jim's looking at it. He's going home to see.
Oh, he can find out.
Yeah, I called Jim first. He doesn't know, but I'll text to see if he has them written down. But like George said, it might have been the type of thing where, you know, nobody wanted to nominate him, but he deserves one.
Or,
Well, I guess Peggy wants it for the program, right?
We're gonna introduce him.
Just introduce.
For which person?
Hello? Yeah.
Dan Larson gives,
Hello? Yeah, can you hear me?
yeah, he did. He was.
So he is coming.
Can you hear me?
Well, he never called
You can't hear me.
Oh, this guy.
What about me?
That you nominated Rob.
Come on.
Yes, I nominated Rob Rosa.
Hello?
You did?
Yeah.
So deserving of the Paul
Can you hear me?
Harris recognition.
Oh, Lord.
You're gonna do the introduction then at the Paul Harris.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah, boy, we're gonna have fun with this one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wait.
we're looking for somebody who nominated Rob Rosa for the program for the Paul Harris.
We got him.
It wasn't bad.
No.
Yeah, I think we found the person because Rob Rosa gave a check to Guy Labella to introduce him, to nominate him. So he paid Guy off.
Yep. All
Okay.
$10.
Guy, are you gonna be there?
Okay, all right, okay, okay, bye.
Who brought Rob into the club to begin with? Didn't you?
I did.
I did.
It's
No, I
Mark's
brought Rob
fault.
Rosa in. Rob Rosa, I brought him. Yeah, he came to my office.
Well, why don't you introduce him then?
Oh, the guy nominated?
The person who nominates him.
As nominating.
Yeah, but the guy nominated him? No, you said he did. Oh, he did, we were like, you did. Then I'll introduce him, it's no big deal.